For this particular project, I was really tempted just to kind of cannibalize some other papers and put them together. But something happened this semester, my first semester of interning, that caused me to go ahead and dig back into some research on a topic that definitely affects the health of students, a couple of mine in particular on my caseload, one of whom I also have in class. And it's that whole issue of what I call the great vape disguise. I think we've all seen the commercials that are portraying vaping with kids and how it could have nicotine, it might not have nicotine, but it's great flavors. But it's essentially developing a new pattern. And as you start to hit adolescence, I would say middle school from the research, as well as high school, it's not just vaping and the nicotine. And again, not all vape liquid has nicotine, but what it's done is it's created a new venue for the use of marijuana. And that's my biggest concern. And so what I thought, I'd go ahead and do some quick research and talk about, again, the great vape disguise. What we found out is that the ease of purchasing this e-cigarette or this vape liquid is through the vape pen itself. Vape pens are no longer bulky, and we're going to talk about that in a second, but the vaping industry has swept our society, for better or for worse. And with this new sensation, literal new sensation, has come a new challenge whose ultimate consequences we really still don't know because of the other chemicals that are in this e-liquid that where students, people, adults are able to exhale this huge amount of smoke. We don't even really know what this combination of chemicals is really going to do ultimately on our internals, from our mouths to our throats to our lungs. Secondhand smoke, you've heard of that. We're not even sure of what the secondhand impact is of what's exhaled from the vape pens. But all that to say is that it's now provided vape pens themselves an alternative means for cannabis use. And as I said, given the unknown nature of these real consequences of everything that's happening, the present findings offer valuable information that we're going to talk about on correlates of this behavior. It's unbelievable how it's increased the use of marijuana, and I'll explain that in just a few moments. But let me talk about some research discoveries. Blundell says that a culture of vaping is emerging that includes the perceived possible attributes, perceived positive attributes of vaping cannabis. Did you catch that? It's no longer taking the roach clip or the edible brownies or whatever else where the smell is there, the stigma's with it. We're now hiding. You see? Did you catch that? We now can hide, or at least in theory, we think we're hiding. We hide the pen, we hide the distributor of it, we hide from the smoke. And this new culture, or this novel culture that's become in vogue now, it increases the prevalence of the use of marijuana, let alone the fact that it's becoming, marijuana, the use period is becoming legal everywhere. Now, yes, do you have to be a certain age to purchase it? Yes, but let's be honest. Anybody can get it. And we're not just talking about the purchase of this cannabis. The vape industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Of course they're going to have it out there, but it's still not regulated. I'm going to talk about that in a second. That's what drives me nuts. You don't know what you're getting. Trivers also says that nearly 9 in every 100 students report vaping marijuana. 9 of every 100. That's reported. Well, let's think a little bit more about this. The number rose to more than 30 in every 100, and based on the recent results, as of 2018, 1 in 3 high school, 1 in 4 middle school kids. Did you catch that? 6th graders, 1 in 4 high school, 1 in 3 use e-cigs or already have vaped, and they vape on a regular basis, and they vape marijuana on a regular basis. 24 states in the United States have fully legalized the cannabis use. I want to mention that to you. The Virginia Commonwealth University found CBD, that addictive chemical, in the marijuana in concentration 6.5, 7.6 milligrams, suggesting issues with quality control. In other words, just the CBD. Let me define CBD. In marijuana, it's called THC. CBD is a created form of the THC drug in marijuana. But in its creative form, known as CBD, which is what we find in the vape pen liquid, what it really has done, because it's unregulated, can have anywhere, sometimes from, I've heard numbers as high as 5 to 30 times the amount of milligrams in it. 5 to 30, oh my gosh, are you kidding? So these kids think, oh yeah, I'm going to go get high on a little roach clip. That's great, but no, I'm going to use it in my vape pen. They don't even know. Kids are ODing. I was walking out of school the other day, and paramedics run in. Why? The teacher couldn't wake the kid up. I'd since found out. Guess what he was doing? Vaping. Yeah, in the restroom or around the corner. He probably OD'd, literally, almost to the point where, and we're talking, oh, it's vaping marijuana. It's not harmful. It's knocking you out. Unbelievable as we see these corresponding real numbers on what this legalization of marijuana, because everything underneath that umbrella now cascades down even into the vape industry. It's not THC, it's CBD. Kids don't believe that CBD oil it's not the same as THC. You're right, it's worse. And the potential is unbelievably worse. And lastly, Garr and Simmons in 2007, Jones in 2016, an alarming stat in the incredible relationship between alcohol use and vape pen use. The numbers are there. We're not sure why, but it goes hand in hand with experimental drinking, hardcore getting drunk drinking. The numbers are there. If someone's getting drunk, they're probably getting high on CBD oil vaping as well. The classroom implications. This one drove me crazy when I started researching this. I have a student, and on his IEP, it says that his OHI, his other health impairment, is anxiety. What? And something just didn't ring true to this with me. Anxious. Okay, I heard how bad his anxiousness was. Guess who just got suspended twice this semester for getting caught by vaping marijuana? Yeah, same student. They call it, SAD, or social anxiety disorder. Those with SAD are more vulnerable to cannabis use disorders. Shocker. SAD is the only internalizing disorder found to be directly related to cannabis problems. There is a direct correlation here. And I'm going to just finish this up. It's having a negative social encounter due to anxiety because it has been related to cannabis-related problems. In fact, young women who smoke daily have reported a higher state of anxiety. Remember, one of 3 high school students, one of 4 middle school students are vaping and doing marijuana, the CBD drug. In the classroom, look at in this picture here on this particular page on strategies for practice. The vape pen is almost the size of a little large cigarette. They even did the colors to mimic a cigarette, but it's a vape pen. You can still get containers that contain the liquid this size, the size of a cigarette, containing that CBD liquid, which could be up to 5 times or up to 30 times the amount of what you would think you're getting in just smoking a joint. But you're getting this uncontrolled, unregulated. Here's my question, though. This first paragraph on strategies in the classroom, if I can summarize it, goes back to my student. On his IEP, his OHI, his other health impairment is anxiety. Therefore, he qualifies for the IEP program. That's what got him into the SPED program. I wonder how long had he been doing marijuana. If he had never done marijuana, would this anxiety be there? I don't know. Because the way that it got introduced into his IEP, it was kind of ambiguous. I tracked it back further and further. I never saw something that, okay, there were some bad home circumstances, it was rough. I can't 100% for sure say that his anxiousness was part of who he was before marijuana. And I've since inquired about it and asked, and I can't get a good answer on that. What we can do is we can look at the warning signs. The warning signs of MJ or marijuana usage in the classroom. Distinguish these behaviors. Try to distinguish them from just being anxious and say, you know what, there's no smell on you, okay, but everything else says you just took your vape pen and you vaped marijuana. We need to be able to control this issue quite a bit more. I need to know that with my caseload, that I am also paying more close attention to those that have anxiety listed on their IEP. By discussing with their teachers and finding out are there common behaviors. Do we see a thread that can be, we can, I guess we could confidently begin to think that this student is probably vaping before, during, and after school, which some of them are. That is a question, and it drove me to do this research project on this video. My conclusions, well, according to the research, they tell me that according to the numbers, there's 360 kids on my campus using MJ at least once a week, some at least once a day. That's crazy. And again, if you look at this vape pen, it's cylindrical, it's small, it's thin, they can hide it in their hoodies. I've seen all sorts of creative places where they tried to hide these things. It is slowly becoming the most popular method of delivering marijuana. Regardless of older folks who need it for medicinal purposes, etc., the vape pen is now becoming the major distributor of marijuana. That's concerning because, of course, we've said it's not regulated, and the actual amount, even though it's CBD and not THC, can be 5 to 30 times what the person thinks that he or she is getting. That's concerning. Although it's going to be difficult to correctly identify marijuana use in many students with special needs, because symptoms of anxiety can mimic the same symptoms of someone using marijuana, we have to be able to bring that into our consciousness and be aware on a daily basis as we see kids and feel confident enough to challenge them and ask them to find out their patterns of behaviors. Where do they go during lunch, during break? And bring it up and work with the administrative staff as they and security are also doing this already, but become part of the team as well. A list of citations is great because it just lets us know that even as recent as this year, 2018, the numbers are real. They're alarming, and we need to be careful that we are paying close attention to the correlation between anxiety, vaping marijuana, and alcohol use. Those three go hand in hand. And in special ed, the students in many ways are not any different than the general ed population. They're all doing it, and we need to be careful that we recognize warning signs, that we try to come alongside of students because of their IEP, but not be afraid to boldly call them on it if we have reasons to suspect and or discover the actual vape material. Excuse me. Feel free to contact me, and I look forward to exploring this, and I'm really grateful for this opportunity. With all that said, I look forward to getting any feedback possible, and we'll go from there. Thanks a bunch.